All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the news show. Solo cast today. The Sika Stand news at 6. Dara is not here this week. He's away for a couple of days. So it's just us and my little pumpkins. And we're doing the news show solo. And we've got some interesting stuff this week. We've got some notable weightlifters returning to training, powerlifting, gone crazy, and a few other little tidbits. So a lot of weightlifting this week. So let's get into it. So first up, we've got Lasha Returns back training after the World. So he's taken a couple of weeks off. Now we've been just doing some light muscle snatches with 120 kilos, with kind of a medium grip. And then he's kind of favored complex in the snatch, which is like a snatch pull with the shoulder still over straight into either a no foot snatch or a full snatch, and he's doing that up to what looks to be 160. Although the video cut off at the end, I've no doubt he made that 160. So we know Lasha was injured and had a couple of different issues. So we know he had some heart issues and some injuries. So I assume he's taken a little bit of time off and maybe looks a little bit slimmer. He was certainly a bit slimmer at the competition, but he looks slimmer again here. So maybe in lieu of those heart issues, he is cutting down on body weight. And it'll be interesting to see if we see him return to there. You know, I think a lot of people will appreciate what Lasha has done so far. And I certainly hope that he doesn't jeopardize his health any further just to set some the 500 kilo total or another Olympics. You know, he's done some amazing things. He'll be forever remembered as the greatest super heavyweight and certainly one of the greatest weightlifters ever. You know, for his achievements, and some people might argue that he's the best weightlifter ever. So it'll be interesting to see how his comeback comes along here. I wouldn't really call this a comeback. I suppose this would be planned downtime, and it's time for him to kind of return to training with the view of Paris 2024. Holy shit, Paris is next year. This is 2023. Holy shit, next year is Paris. What the fuck? Is that right? I entered the lotto for the draw, so obviously myself and Dara are hoping to go to Paris, the Olympics, and I've entered for the draw, and it's in a couple of days. So you can go to Paris 2024 whatever.org, and you can enter the draw to buy tickets to some of the events. So hopefully we'll get some weightlifting events. Now, Lash is back to training, so we'll see. I'm sure Dr. Georgie will be updating us over the course of the next couple of months how his training is going. Now, return to training from another great weightlifter, Nino Pizzolato. So some of the Italian team, as you well know who Nino is. Hey, you know who Nino is. He's back squatting 240 very easily. We've no real idea what Nino's best squatting numbers were. He didn't attend Worlds, the most recent Worlds last year, due to an injury. Some people suspected other reasons, but we won't go into those. Either way, Nino is definitely one of the greatest weightlifters currently lifting of this crop. Very powerful, very fast, really come into his own in the last few years. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does, and I think we'll see a huge performance from him at Paris when he gets there, I have no doubt. So he's squatting 240, and here's a little video of him clean and jerking what looks to be 190. Quite a light lift relative to him. So powerful, so fast. Clean and jerk, it really is his specialty. His snatch is very good, of course, but it's not as good as his clean and jerk. He has some issues in the snatch. Could be related to his build. He has quite long legs and arms, and he makes it work so well in the clean, which is very interesting. But for the snatch, it is harder to make that up a little bit. But it will, I'm sure, come along with the heavier weight as an 89, and will be interesting to see what he'll snatch in competition, and even more interesting, what he'll clean and jerk in competition. So great to see Nino back lifting. Also back is Arley Mendez. Now this is an unusual one. So clean and jerking, did a little competition in Chile. No idea what this is. I'm going to say 170 or 180. He's looking to be in quite good shape, and he's getting back there. I don't know what his shtick with competition was. I was under the impression that he was serving a full ban, but someone commented recently that he only tested positive for marijuana, the devil's lettuce, and it was only under a couple of month ban, but I'm not so sure. So it'll be interesting to see. He's obviously gearing up for something. He's obviously training for something, no pun intended. So we'll be watching Arley with interest, especially if he comes back as an 89 and he's able to compete with the likes of Nino and Carlos. Next up, we've got Yeom, but I'm not sure of his actual name. He's a Korean member of the national team. He's primarily lifts in the KNSU, Korean National Sports University. His father is a lecturer there, and I followed Yeom for years. But his technique is incredible. I love watching his clean and jerks specifically. He doesn't upload a lot, but it is great to see him when he trains. And he was in Alex Lee's gym, Ailey Athletics, from this clip. It is from a few weeks ago, but it is still a great clip. So look at. Clean and jerks are both great. And he's certainly turned into an absolute hunk, because he was a skinny teenager and now he is a man. Great to see him lifting, so very good to watch. Be interesting to see if he'll ever make a international team, which I think he will. He's early 20s, so he's left time to develop. Korean weightlifting is very good at the moment. There seems to be a lot of active lifters, and there seems to be still a lot of support for it, and people seem to be training hard. Seems to be a lot of talent. There doesn't seem to be any failed drug tests. So be very interesting to see, and it's great to see Korean weightlifting flourishing. Maybe not quite to the level of like Jae Hun, but maybe, you know, we'll see another once in a generation lifter come along like that for Korea. On the female side, we certainly have a once in a generation lifter, Hai Jeong. I'm not sure what her full name is, but what we do know is she's a fucking beast, I think is her full name. Here's her squatting 230. 230. What the fuck for a double, for a double? 230 kilos. She's very young as well. I'm sure she's only in her late teens. 230 kilos. A perfect bar squat, aesthetically perfect. It is magnificent. And 230 for a double. That training hall is so iconic as well. I love that training hall in the Romaleo and the Volts. Now I know Spider Weightlifting Shoe sponsored some of the Korean weightlifting team. I don't know if they sponsored all of them, but we've got her in the Nikes. What was Yeom wearing? So, he was wearing Ram 4, so they do like the Nikes. And then she did first, by the looks of things, 190 for 5 sets of 3, and then topped out with 230 for a double. Looking at this, I'd have to say 250 for a single. Minimum 245. But incredible lifting. It'll be very interesting to see where she goes. If anybody knows the heaviest squat we've seen from a female weightlifter, I'd be very interested to know. I'm going to have to assume it belongs to Tatiana Karashina, who we've seen squat 255 in a training hall. I think that was in the 2019 Worlds in Thailand. But other than that, I can't think of anyone who squatted heavier than her, and I can't imagine there's someone out there who would have squatted heavier. Now we've got Lift Like Tiff. So she is a 55 kilo American weightlifter cleaning 115 kilos from the low blocks or slightly at knee. So incredibly strong lift. Very good positions, very fast under the barbell. See that it's straight as a lot of the lighter lifters from the US and a lot of lighter lifters in general, but noticeably a great crop of female weightlifters in America, you know, from all the way to the top weight classes down. You're seeing a lot of great lifters, and Lift Like Tiff or Tiffany, 115. Great lifting, very good positions. You know, what I will give Americans as well, American weightlifting, you sure know how to fill a big building with platforms, plates, and bumpers and bars, and that's it. You know, you just know that's a great way. That's what you should be doing with a gym. I love it. I love to see it. And there's so many of those gyms like there in the USA. Should really go to the USA at some point. But I love that the just a big room, loads of kilo plates and bars and platforms and squat racks, and you just have a great fucking gym, and I love it. It is great to see. And Tiffany with a 115 clean at 55. I assume she's a little bit over here, unless she's walking around with 55, but I can't imagine she's much over that. So she looks quite chuffed, so great lift. Right, next up, we have possibly, if not the weirdest thing I've ever seen in regards to this whole atmosphere we're in, this whole sphere, this whole fitness community, weightlifting, powerlifting, everything. This is by far the strangest thing. Now, shout out to Shane Hunt, who kind of updated me a little bit what was happening. I saw it from his story, and I had to know. If you go to goob._u2, he's an online coach, your favorite influencer's least favorite influencer. So he's kind of an exposer of crazy people. He has several videos on this. Essentially, the USPA, so the United States Powerlifting Association, which is quite a big association in the United States, especially since the disgrace of the IPF branch of the USA for doing too much testing but not enough testing. That whole story was quite an interesting one. They couldn't send athletes to the Worlds and the USPA was quite a big federation, still is, I suppose, but some recent events have shown that they haven't been vetting any of their members who work there, any of the directors or any of the potential people who be running meets. Turns out multiple numbers of those were, again, I'm trying to think, will these words knock me on YouTube or knock us on YouTube? Offenders of a particular nature, and I'm sure you can guess what they are. A variety of them, and Goob_YouTube goes into that. That's the first video. I really don't think I can actually show this on. I can't show this on YouTube. There's no way I'll get flagged. It's exposing fitness frauds. It's Stephanie Bennett, former USPA chair. You need to go watch that one. Do not watch that with your kids around you. Don't watch it with your partner if you don't want to explain what's going on. It's a video of a woman on someone's deck outside, putting her hand somewhere, you can guess where, and rubbing it on this other woman's door handle and on her window, or like the windows of her door. And then they started a whole series of exposes by Goob_U2. So there's a lot of videos here. They threatened to sue him by the looks of things. False promises, I assume, or false threats or empty threats, but variety of different things. And he essentially is exposing all those people. Now, I know we made that video recently talking about don't do negative shit and the meme thing and all that crack, and we're talking about how it's like bad for the whole environment. This absolutely is the exception for the case. If there's lunatics and people like this involved in the sport, involved in it, is just not good for anyone. And absolutely, that's the whole reason Garda vetting any Olympic sport in coaching. If you're qualified, if you're registered as a coach, you'll know you'll have to be. We call it Garda vetting here, but that's just the name of our police force. Garda Síochána, Guardians of the Light, aka the police. Essentially is police vetting. So just a background check in America or whatever it is in your own country. It is something that is mandatory for obvious reasons. Would mark you with younger people, vulnerable people. When you're in a position to be a shitbag. So it absolutely is an exception here for this kind of nonsense. And kudos to Goob_U2 for just making those videos. It was quite a big stir over the weekend from what I saw. So pretty crazy, lads. That's probably the craziest thing or the weirdest thing that's happened in this that I've seen in a long time. And I was around during the days when the Black Box Summit happened with CrossFit and stuff like that. Or does anyone remember Iron Garmex, the forums? Or does anyone else remember? There's another one. There was just pages and pages of mental stuff. But this is by far one of the strangest things definitely caught on video in relation to strength sports. Check out the rest of that. Now, on to some lifting. So John Haack is training for a competition in just under 4 weeks' time. And here's a video of him just a couple of days ago matching his best ever deadlift, 410 kilos conventional. And looks quite easy. Well, it looks easy to the knee. Very clean rep, of course. A little bit of slowdown in the second pull. But it is matching his PB, and it is 410 kilos. He is a very good deadlifter. He's a very good lifter. He's probably one of the greatest powerlifters ever, but very good lifting. I'd wonder if he had a little bit more legs initially from the floor. That second pull would be a bit better. It's hard to know, though, when it is 410. But he is training hard for that competition. He's a month ago, so I'd be surprised if he didn't add more to this. John is also a very good competition lifter, so it would be surprising if he doesn't add more to this. There's also a video of John benching 220 kilos for 5. So some of these are kind of pause reps. The initial ones are touch and go, but there's some of the reps where he looks like he's pausing. It might just be the last rep. So incredibly clean reps. Very easy. Very, very, very easy reps. So 220 by 5. So we don't even know what he's going to do in competitions. Be very interested to see. Seems like he's had some injury and troubles a little bit. He's talked about that in his training vlogs and YouTube. So hopefully everything is going to come true and he'll get some big lifts, because it's always great to see. 280 kilos for a double. Obviously, very big squat. This is a Korean, all about Korean today. It's all Korean everywhere. Hopefully I'm being Korea this year. 280 kilos for a double, for a double, right? Now, there's loads of lifts you guys tagged us in this week, and so grateful for that. And couldn't get them all. Had to cut out loads of those to include some of the things I needed to include this week for the news show. So thank you so much to everyone who tagged us once again. And I'll keep thanking everyone who tags us and keep tagging us, because it's very beneficial, and I really appreciate it. And I wish we could include them all, but we got to cap it somewhere. So this was one of those. Jae Hun, 280 kilos for an aesthetically beautiful double in the squat. Very slow descent. No idea what his top squat is. We haven't seen him squat a whole lot heavier than this, but 280 kilos from a double, he is massive, obviously, but I'm not quite sure what weight he is. So he obviously trains quite heavy. I think the 280 for a double is the heaviest squat we've seen from him, but it is aesthetically very pleasing to watch. A very good squat, and he's squatting in those bodybuilding shoes where you see all those pro bodybuilders using. Nobody knows where they get them. Are they racing shoes? Are they rally shoes? Are they boxing shoes? Nobody knows where they are, but they fucking love those shoes. So a beautiful squat, and it's great to see. So anytime big lifts like that, you see them, you tag us. Now, Beast of the Week has to go to Ross Edgley. You guys know we love Ross. And this is a video from him attempting to break, or this is a photo from him during the period when he was trying to break the longest staged swim in open water. And my fucking God, Ross is a monster. So he's just talking about his kind of training. Ross seems like a great guy. And as we mentioned, if there's someone on YouTube or social media we'd love to collaborate, Ross has got to be at the top. I'd love to just show him how to do a power clean and do some lifting, and he looks like a good fun. He looks like a good buzz. So Ross absolutely takes Beast of the Week this week. Now, speaking of monsters, here's another monster. This is Chuk Nkowechi. He's a Nigerian shot putter. He's at the 2020 Olympics. Here's some snatch grip push pressing 200 kilos for a triple with zero problem. No problem whatsoever. Very interesting, he's using snatch grip push press. It is a movement that you can put a lot of speed and power into. It allows for heavy weights, and it does allow for that position when it's on the back of your neck that you can just drive into it as much as possible. You don't need a lot of speed. Now, you might be like, oh, could he be holding them overhead or whatever? They're getting their arms lengths that are completed reps or whatever. But either way, he's still getting a huge amount of benefit for this, for shot putting. It's an interesting one. We don't see them use that a lot. Generally, what we'll see, the throwers, the discus, hammer, shot put, what we'll see them use a lot of the times is high pulls or hang power clean specifically, and sometimes then hang power snatches. Generally, they'll do some massive weights with the hang power cleans, but it's very interesting to see some of them using a snatch grip push press. So I wonder who is programming for him, or who's kind of pushing this. He's in the Valesa weightlifting shoes, actually, by the looks of things. So 200 for 3, snatch grip, push press. Very impressive lifting, especially from a non-weightlifter, but especially for a shot putter. So very interesting. We don't seem to see a lot of his other training on his Instagram. We see a lot of his throwing, but that means absolutely nothing to me. So some front squats. Maybe Chuk needs a full video. Again, this is someone who tagged us. So 160 high pulls. So these are kind of the Korean, Japanese style cleans, where they're essentially nearly full reps. You know what? I think Chuk deserves the full video when he comes back. So there's actually a good bit of his training here. So stand by for that when Dara's back next week. Finally, we have got Fletcher Newell, who is an All Black. And however long or short your career with the All Blacks is, once you're an All Black, you're kind of always an All Black. Squatting 272.5 kilos, 600 pounds. A very good rep, good depth, full squat, very, very good lifts. Very interesting to see this kind of lifting still happening in the All Blacks. Very interesting to see one of the larger All Blacks there at the moment. So they were kind of known recent years, essentially the last World Cup, where they cut down on weight a lot and gone for a faster sport. But currently rugby is not that kind of sport. Rugby is a stronger, faster and absolutely massier sport where players are bigger. And when they came up against people like England or South Africa or most recently Ireland, who beat them twice, but that's okay, are very large teams. Now, there's some speculation in rugby that they might be changing the rules to accommodate for this and force a little bit of drop due to the fears of some impending brain injuries. But either way, Fletcher's 600-pound squat, great lifting. Very interesting to see that they're squatting below parallel, not to a box, high bar, heavy as well, especially during the season. So this is recently, so very interesting. 272.5. Yep, it's a very good lift. Don't see much of his training on the rest of his Instagram, so that was on the All Blacks Instagram. Fletcher, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's new show with just myself. It's just going to be me all week. Now, how will you like that? So I've got some stoic videos planned, got some training vlogs, got some lifter of the week returning. So hope you enjoy this little runtime of just me and my little pumpkins. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what your favourite story from this week is. Please don't talk about the powerlifting one. Thanks for watching.